Welcome to Anime Chronicles, the channel where we bring to life the full story of every anime character and beyond. Today, we're igniting the flames with Kyojuro Rengoku, the blazing Flame Hashira from Demon Slayer. Known for his radiant spirit, explosive flame breathing techniques, and unshakable resolve, Rengoku stands as one of the most unforgettable warriors in the entire series. From his early days, shaped by family duty, to his legendary battles and ultimate sacrifice aboard, the Mugen Train, Rengoku's fire, has left an indelible mark across the anime and manga. His legacy is one of courage, compassion, and the burning will to protect others at any cost. We'll explore his origins, unique abilities, most iconic moments, and the enduring impact that made him a symbol of hope and strength for generations of fans. If you love uncovering the stories and legacies of your favorite anime heroes, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us as we set our hearts ablaze with the story of Kyojuro Rengoku. Kyojuro Rengoku's story did not begin with the glory of a Hashira, nor with the radiant smile that inspired his comrades. It began, like most legacies, with a family weighed down by expectations, honor, and an unyielding burden that passed from father to son. The Rengoku family had been slayers for generations, a line of flame that flickered through history, tasked with holding back the darkness that threatened to devour humanity. Kyojuro's earliest memories were not of battles or demons, but of fire, of sitting beside his mother Ruka while she told him that those who were strong had a duty to protect the weak. Her words were not simple encouragement, they were law. "Those born strong," she said softly, her frail body already showing the toll of illness, "must use that strength to protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is your responsibility, Kyojuro. That is the essence of our family's flame." Those words burned themselves into the boy's heart. His mother's warmth contrasted with his father's stern silence. Shinjuro Rengoku, once the proud Flame Hashira, had descended into bitterness and drink after Ruka's death. He abandoned not only his duties as a Hashira, but also his responsibilities as a father. Yet Kyojuro did not falter. Where others would have grown resentful, he smiled. Where his brother Senjuro trembled under their father's neglect, Kyojuro laughed and carried the weight for both of them. He trained alone, guided not by Shinjuro's bitter words, but by the scrolls left behind, by generations of Flame Hashira. Every swing of his sword was accompanied by the sound of determination, and though his body ached, his spirit never broke. He believed in his mother's words so deeply that it became the pillar of his existence. The strong must protect the weak. Even as a teenager, his personality shone brightly. Fellow trainees at the Demon Slayer Corps noted his enthusiasm, his booming voice that often startled those around him, and his unshakable optimism. He was not the most talented swordsman at first, but his sheer effort and relentless spirit allowed him to rise. His style, flame-breathing, was not only an inheritance from his family, but a personal embodiment of who he was. Like fire, Kyojuro could be overwhelming, consuming, and fierce, but also comforting and full of life. The first time he faced a demon alone, Kyojuro nearly lost his life. He was still young, his movements raw and unrefined, but in that battle, he discovered something crucial. His courage was not a fleeting emotion, but a constant. Even when his body shook with exhaustion and fear, he refused to retreat. With one decisive strike of his flaming blade, he defeated the demon. From that day on, his path was clear. He would carry the flame forward no matter how heavy it burned. Years passed, and while his father sank deeper into despair, Kyojuro grew stronger. He passed the final selection with confidence and honor, standing tall among the other slayers. His name spread quickly, not only for his strength, but for his kindness. He treated even the weakest recruits with respect, encouraging them to continue training, reminding them that their lives had value. He became a symbol of morale, a bright fire in the often bleak world of demon hunting. When he finally rose to the rank of Hashira, it was not with arrogance, but with a deep sense of duty. He knew what it meant to inherit the title. His mother's words echoed louder than ever, and he vowed that his flame would never flicker, no matter how strong the wind of despair tried to extinguish it. Thus, Kyojuro Rengoku, the Flame Hashira, was born, not merely a warrior of fire, but a beacon of hope. His story, however, was only beginning. The sparks that shaped his path would soon ignite into a blaze that would burn brightly, even in death. Kyojuro Rengoku's rise to the rank of Flame Hashira was more than a ceremonial promotion. It was a declaration that the torch had been passed from the past to the present, and that he would burn brighter than any darkness dared to. Yet, the life of a Hashira was not one of comfort. It was a battlefield that demanded not only strength of body, but resilience of heart. From the moment he was recognized as Hashira, Kyojuro's days were filled with missions of extraordinary danger. Demons that ordinary slayers could not hope to defeat were now his responsibility. He faced them without hesitation, charging into the thick of battle with a voice that boomed like thunder, calling his techniques as though announcing the dawn itself. First form, unknowing fire. His strikes were not only deadly, they were beautiful. Flames danced around him as if the fire itself had accepted him as its avatar. One of his earliest battles as Hashira took place in a small village plagued by a demon that had stalked generations. For decades, this demon slaughtered travelers and left survivors broken with grief. Corps members sent before had all fallen. Kyojuro arrived alone, yet when the villagers saw him, clad in his flame-patterned haori, his hair burning like the sunset, and his confident smile, they felt hope for the first time in years. He fought the demon through the night, his blade illuminating the darkness like a blazing torch. By dawn, the monster was nothing more than ash, and the villagers wept with joy. To them, Rengoku was not merely a warrior, he was a savior. But the life of a Hashira was more than victory. It was sacrifice. For every battle won, there were slayers lost. Kyojuro carried their names in his heart. He would sit by campfires with his subordinates, praising their courage, urging them never to despair. His booming voice and radiant laughter masked the weight he carried, but it was precisely this duality that made him beloved. His comrades saw him as indestructible, a flame that never dimmed. But deep inside, Rengoku understood the fragility of life all too well. His younger brother, Senjuro, looked up to him as both brother and father figure. Their father's apathy had only grown, yet Kyojuro never spoke ill of Shinjuro in Senjuro's presence. Instead, he shielded him with warmth, telling him that no matter what path Senjuro chose, whether to wield a blade or not, he was proud of him. This tenderness revealed Rengoku's greatest truth. He did not measure strength only in swordsmanship, but in the courage to live with honor. Within the Demon Slayer Corps, Kyojuro's presence uplifted everyone. In Hashira meetings, his voice often carried the spirit of unity. He was quick to praise, quick to encourage, and never allowed the crushing despair of endless war to smother morale. When recruits trembled, he reminded them of their purpose. When missions seemed hopeless, he would laugh boldly and declare, "Set your heart ablaze." The phrase became his essence, a rallying cry that embodied his soul. And yet, while his light burned brightly, shadows loomed. Stronger demons, led by Muzan Kibutsuji's 12 Kizuki, had begun to move with greater ferocity. Each encounter was more dangerous than the last. Kyojuro knew his flame would eventually be tested, not by nameless demons, but by foes who embodied the darkness itself. And when that moment came, he was determined that his fire would not falter, even if it cost him his life. The fate of Kyojuro Rengoku truly began to shift with the mission aboard the Mugen Train. What seemed at first like a routine investigation would soon become one of the most decisive battles of his life, a moment where his flame burned at its brightest and faced its fiercest test. The Demon Slayer Corps had reported multiple disappearances linked to the train. Over 40 passengers had vanished without explanation. The suspicion of demon involvement was certain, and so Rengoku was dispatched to lead the mission. Yet fate intertwined his path with others: Tanjiro Kamado, Zenitsu Agatsuma, Inosuke Hashibira, and the young Nezuko. Rengoku welcomed them immediately, his personality radiating warmth and excitement. His laughter echoed in the train cars, his appetite immense, his energy contagious. Though they were still novices compared to him, he treated them with encouragement, never dismissing their potential. When the demon Enmu revealed himself, binding the passengers in a web of dreams to feast on their lives, Rengoku's flame blazed forth without hesitation. His sword cut through the illusion, his willpower stronger than any trick of the mind. For Rengoku, dreams were not a weakness. His spirit was too pure, too focused. The strong must protect the weak. This was his reality, more powerful than any dream. With blazing speed, he saved the passengers again and again, moving through the train like a living inferno. His very presence was reassurance that they would survive. The battle escalated when the train itself transformed into a grotesque demon body. While the young demon slayers fought valiantly, it was Rengoku who orchestrated their survival. He commanded without arrogance, praised their efforts, and bore the brunt of the danger himself. By the time Enmu was defeated, Rengoku stood tall, his blade still burning, his spirit untouchable. The passengers lived, the mission succeeded, and his legend grew. But the night was not over. From the shadows emerged a new adversary, Akaza, upper rank 3 of the 12 Kazuki. Unlike Enmu, this demon was not a schemer hiding behind illusions. He was raw power incarnate. His bloodlust radiated like a storm, his martial strength overwhelming. Even before the first clash, Rengoku sensed the gravity of this foe. This was not a battle that could be taken lightly. Yet instead of fear, his heart surged with resolve. Akaza admired Rengoku's strength, urging him to abandon humanity and become a demon. He offered immortality, endless battles, and the promise of power beyond human limits. But Rengoku laughed boldly, rejecting the offer with unwavering conviction. His flame was not meant to burn eternally for his own sake. It existed to protect. To live forever without purpose was not strength. True strength, he declared, was using the life one was given to shield others. Thus began the clash of fire and shadow. The duel between Kyojuro Rengoku and Akaza was a spectacle of light and destruction. Every strike of Rengoku's flame sword illuminated the darkness, while Akaza's crushing fists shattered the earth around them. Sparks of orange fire clashed. With waves of demonic power, the train's wreckage serving as their battlefield. The younger slayers could only watch in awe as two titans collided. Rengoku fought with everything he had. His forms burned brighter than ever, arcs of flame that cut through the night, each technique executed with both precision and heart. His body endured devastating blows, but his spirit never faltered. The longer the battle raged, the clearer. It became that Akaza's regeneration gave him the advantage. Every wound Rengoku inflicted healed in moments, while his own body grew weaker. Yet Rengoku smiled through the pain. His eyes glowed with the fire of resolve. Even when his ribs cracked, his arms shook and blood filled his lungs, he pressed forward. His voice thundered with every breath, not of despair, but of life. Set your heart ablaze. In one final desperate clash, Rengoku unleashed his 9th form, Rengoku. His blade became a blazing dragon, his spirit roaring alongside it. A strike, meant to cut through destiny itself. The flame dragon surged toward Akaza, and for a moment it seemed the upper rank would be consumed. But the demon endured, countering with sheer force, driving his fist through Rengoku's body. Blood spilled, but even pierced through the chest, Rengoku refused to release his grip. His sword held Akaza in place as dawn approached. For those moments, Rengoku's willpower alone was enough to bind the demon. His arms trembled, his voice faltered, but his determination did not break. He fought not for himself, but for Tanjiro, for the slayers behind him, for the passengers he had saved, for his mother's words echoing in his soul. His flame would not flicker out until he had given everything. The sun began to rise. Akaza, realizing the danger, tore himself free and fled into the shadows. Rengoku, mortally wounded, collapsed. Yet even in defeat, he had protected everyone. Not a single life aboard the train was lost under his watch. That, to him, was victory. As he lay dying, Rengoku called Tanjiro close. His voice was weak, yet it carried the same warmth it always had. He told Tanjiro that he believed in him, that Nezuko's humanity was proof of a future where demons and humans could exist without endless bloodshed. He entrusted his dream, his will to the next generation. "Set your heart ablaze," he whispered, "and go beyond." To his younger brother Senjuro, though absent, he sent a final message: to live proudly, no matter the path he chose. He asked Tanjiro to relay his love and encouragement, reminding Senjuro that strength was not the only way to honor their family. Compassion, too, was a flame worth carrying. When the vision of his mother appeared before him in his final moments, Rengoku smiled. She welcomed him with pride, telling him he had upheld her words, that he had indeed used his strength to protect the weak. With that reassurance, Kyojuro Rengoku passed into the next life, his eyes serene, his flame eternal. News of his death shook the Demon Slayer core. The Flame Hashira had fallen, yet his spirit did not fade. For Tanjiro and his friends, Rengoku became an inspiration, a model of courage, duty, and kindness. His sacrifice proved that true strength was not immortality or power, but the willingness to burn brightly, even if only for a short time, to light the path for others. And so, though his life was brief, his flame became immortal. The world remembered, not the moment he fell, but the way he lived, smiling, encouraging, fighting with every ounce of his soul. Kyojuro Rengoku was more than the Flame Hashira. He was a beacon of hope, an eternal blaze that no darkness could extinguish.